Ahoy hoy gang, if this is your first time with us, welcome, and if you're joining us from a previous video, hey, we love to see it, and I hope you're doing well. Sinners rejoice! It's time for a new series review, retrospective, whatever. Today we're looking at probably one of the biggest media sensations of the modern digital age, Hazbin Hotel. Not only did this series have the largest premiere of any animated series on Amazon, beating out other powerhouses like Vox Machina or Invincible, its creation story, is what makes the series truly special. Created by Vivian Medrano, aka Vizzy Pop, based off the comic, the series follows Charlie Morningstar, who tries to create a hotel where wayward souls can fix their issues and get that golden ticket to heaven. The pilot for the series actually premiered on YouTube and was made by a bunch of independent animators and was voiced by a different cast than the actual show, which did cause some points of contention, but this is not uncommon with series that need proper licensing and contracting. Keith David is a bigger pole than Stamper. Who knew? The series was produced by A24, which traditionally only make quality, and the animation was done by Bento Box, probably most famous for Bob's Burgers and Smiling Friends. The series would also have a, companion series in the form of Hell of a Boss that tells a different story in the same hellish landscape. Will I talk about it? Maybe. Let's see if this review does anything first. Full disclosure, yeah, I did watch the pilot and Hell of a Boss before this series dropped, and it has been something in my peripheral for the years it's been in production. It's a series that, if nothing else, needs to be remembered for its uniqueness. And so it's time to ask those three ageless questions. What worked? What failed? What heaven-sent annihilation forces will be curtailed? Let's have some fun here in Season 1. I was debating whether to talk about the pilot or not. Yes, the first episode does a great job of getting someone up to speed, but it is technically a straight continuation from the aforementioned pilot. And while not a part of the official episode order from A24, I do think it is something to watch and appreciate. It gives us our first glimpses of backstory with the assorted overlords showing up, the 365-day countdown, the wreckage after a cleanse, and just the overall ambiance of the show. Sadly, something that doesn't translate over to the series is the movement in some of the scenes. Characters have a much lankier, more curved motion like you'd expect from a Ralph Bakshi movie. Much like, say, Cool World, Wizards, or American Pop. A little bit of heavy metal sprinkled in and you sorta get the idea of what they were going for. Oh, and just a little inspiration from Invader Zim, I guess. Not like she said she's a fan of the series or anything. Richard Horvitz definitely doesn't play Moxie in Hell of a Boss. But the animation overall, I'm about it. That being said, the pilot does look like it was independently made. Now, I'm not saying it's like one of those Elsa surfboards with Lightning McQueen on 420 styles. It's just got the cracks you'd expect from a series with a lot of passion, not so much budget. And for what they could do, they did a terrific job. Make no mistake, this one pilot was made with so much passion and hope that it set a whole fandom alight. It wasn't workshopped by some executives or polished up by some other showrunner. It was made by a small team with a dream. And currently it has almost 100 million views on YouTube as one of the most intriguing creative treasures of the entire site. Make no mistake. Tomar is in it. That's enough to sell me. It did a lot of good and has encouraged so many others to follow in their wake and release incredible animated series all their own, and has drawn attention to creators already making incredible works. The pilot has excellent storyboarding and an aesthetic that is easy to replicate but is impossible to master like a good fandom series should. The story? Oh, sure, whatever. Charlie goes with her girlfriend Vaggie to do an interview to promote the Hazbin Hotel where they're going to redeem souls and get them into heaven. She tries to sing, everyone mocks her, Alistair the radio demon joins up because he's, quote, bored, and summons his servant/soul contracts, Husk and Nifty, to help tend to the hotel. Serpentius attacks. Alistair does big bad radio thing, lights flicker on, and boom! Hazbin Hotel is ready to do something. It would take over 4 years for the story to continue. And when it did, it was fine. I mean, how do you live up to the hype after 4 years of people waiting for a story to continue? How do you satisfy all their fan theories and ideas? Honestly, you make hell of a boss and draw their attention away to Brandon Rogers just losing his mind on screen, and then somehow get people hooked on emotional scenes, and then boom, Kesha comes in. It's a lot. It's also a masterful way of keeping the momentum going while a show is being produced. Seriously, Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel guest star. It's wild. This show was the catalyst for a whole world for people to explore and find themselves in. It gave them a way to make their own persona. This is Friendship is Magic for angsty theater kids, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's giving people that feel ostracized a community while talking about harrowing topics and giving a boilerplate story to work from. The show exists to evoke raw emotion. The story is largely secondary. I can summarize each episode in just a few sentences, but what makes the show special is the musical numbers, the passion, the vocal talent pouring their hearts out, and so much more. The pilot for this series wasn't a traditional pilot. It felt much closer to a spec script of a musical they were working on, flaws and all. The musical numbers were very well choreographed and staged, which is tricky for an animated series to not make it seem like it's too much, but the audio editing left me struggling to hear every third word of any song. Maybe I just don't have my Zoomer ears anymore. The story is largely not really there, and it's more of just setting things up rather than moving the narrative forward. It's a taste of the world you can experience if you back Hazbin Hotel today. It's fine. The pilot is fine. Like, I can't judge it by traditional studio animation means because it isn't, one of those. It wasn't made by a traditional studio. It's just its own thing. Watch it. That's my rating. Watch it. It deserves your eyeballs on your screen. 30 minutes of your time. Boom. Also, make sure to appreciate the actors that brought the pilot to life even though they wouldn't be able to continue to play the characters. Jill Harris, who has been in all kinds of anime like MHA and Black Clover, Michael Kovac, who you probably heard in Digital Circus or Lackadaisy, Monica Franco, Edward Bosco, the list goes on and on. These people put their heart and soul into this work, and it's a celebration of the hard work of voice actors and creators that helped in creating this ambitious product. And how'd it end up? Well, alright, so we have a new cast, and I'm gonna shotgun these because it's basically a whole cast redo. Roll call. Erica Henningsen is Charlie, and she's got plenty of stage and musical experience. Huh, weird. Vaggie is played by Stephanie Beatriz, who of course can sing. You've seen Encanto, you know the drill. Blake Roman is our new Angel Dust, another musical actor. Alex Brightman, frickin' Beetlejuice in Beetlejuice the Musical, is the new Serpentius, which is a wild get. Voice actor Amir Tamil, who's actually been in quite a few of American Dad episodes, would be the new Alistair. And I know I'm burying two of the biggest gets, but the show did, so I'm allowed to. Husk the Cat, Bat Thing, would be played by Keith frickin' David. Goliath is in this show. He's amazing. He has sent young men and women to war. He is a national treasure, and he plays a side character. That's just, okay. It's not like they do that again. But then you get Nifty, played by Kimiko Glenn. You know, the super talented musical and acting power behind Close Enough, Centaur World, Orange is the New Black, and just all kinds of good stuff. Nifty gets no songs. Not a single bop is thrown her way. It's criminal what these people are doing. Criminal! No, that's not fair. Let's get into the show itself. On the plus side, I can hear all the songs. Everything has been touched up with that studio sparkle, and it feels much more developed. The problem? All that smooth animation is gone. It's fine animation, don't get me wrong, but it is a noticeable shift. Bento Box really feels like a weird pick for this series. I know a subdivision did Smiling Friends and they do stuff like this, but I don't know. It makes me wonder. However, we open with some backstory. Basically, Lucifer was cast out of heaven for being too carefree and chaotic. He tried to get the humans in on the fun and romanced Lilith before tempting Eve with the forbidden fruit. His being cast down created hell, and now his daughter Charlie, that he had with Lilith, is trying to fix everything. Every 365 days, a swarm of angels come down and slaughter the civilians of hell so they can never rise up, and Charlie is determined to end this horrific atrocity. She goes to meet with Adam, played by Alex Brightman, and he tells her that he loves taking out the denizens of hell so much he's gonna crank up the frequency to 6 months. That's a ticking clock, people! We have a narrative device! Then we find out he's turning up the clock because someone took out one of his seemingly invincible inquisitors, and he needs to snuff out that rebellion right quick. Again, getting to the end of the episode is why you watch the show. The story is simple, so the episode can take as many liberties in how it gets there. While Alex Brightman is also Fazoli and a hell of a boss, and obviously knows the world and their roles by heart, the way they play Adam is genuinely inspired. Just major credit where credit is due, he is a rib-eating sleazebag in the best way. His song is fun, his assistant Lute is cold and played incredibly by Jessica Vosk, and everything in this pocket is solid. From concept to execution, there isn't a skip beat. There's even a B story about Vaggie helping by making a commercial with Alistair, and it ultimately goes nowhere, and just shows off how creepy Alistair is. Fun! Overall, if you're coming into the show knowing nothing about the world or the characters and skip the pilot, the first episode does a great job of getting you up to speed and actually pushes the story forward. You understand motives, you get the ticking clock that propels the series, and everything starts making sense. Overture is a high octave 9 out of 10. The news of Alistair's return has started to spread, and we get our first introduction to the V's. Valentino, played by Joel Perez, Vox, played by Christian Borle, and Velvet, played by Lily Cooper. They run almost all the media of hell, radio not permitting. Vox, TV, Valentino, adult entertainment, and Velvet is always trending on the social media. Valentino is also the Mothman that Angel Dust works for as an adult actor due to him being shackled by him. It's a lot. Valentino is mad that Angel Dust is staying at the hotel, and when Vox finds out that Alistair's back, he goes into a whole song and dance about how much he hates him and how weak he really is. Alistair proceeds to clap back, and the cracked monitor realizes he might be outgunned after Alistair takes out the whole power grid. So Vox sends in a spy to infiltrate the Hazbin ranks. Serpentius gets brought in for rehabilitation, and wow, yeah, he's totally the spy. Gets caught same day and apologizes, and bing bang boom, gets forgiven. That's the episode. Again, there's not a lot there narratively, but there's a ton of spectacle. This is a musical, and season 1 is basically just the first act. It almost feels like you have to watch it all in one sitting and just turn your brain off. That being said, again, musical numbers are great. The Alistair Vox one being especially notable and a high point of the season. I'll say this, you're either going to love Alistair or hate him. There is no way you can be lukewarm on the character because they are shoved into each and every nook and cranny they can fit in. He's the big bad broadcast deer demon, Wendigo, whatever, and he is making himself known. He seems pretty impressive, right? Like some big dark force you shouldn't be messing with? Sure would be awkward if he didn't really do anything of substance this season. Real awkward. Radio killed the video star as our first proper introduction to the structure of hell and some of its most powerful players. It's incredibly acted, and huge credit to Blake Roman for how they bring Angel Dust to life. They're really going all in. Yes, there is the scene where Angel Dust is listening through all of Valentino's voicemails, but it'll obviously come into play later on in the show as well. You understand that behind the bravado, Angel Dust is hurting, and the episode does an excellent job of showing that with how they feud with Serpentius throughout it. Radio Killed the Video Star is a format-defining 8 out of 10. Aha! It's trust exercise day at the hotel! And because Alistair can't be bothered, he decides to go for a stroll with Serpentius' egg minions while everyone at the hotel has to open up to one another. Oh yay! Bonding! Well, they all start falling apart, and Vaggie feels like she's failed Charlie because she can't keep it all together. Meanwhile, Alistair runs into Zestiel Mord, played by James Monroe Iglehart, who is also Asmodeus in Hell of a Boss, which Zestiel definitely feels like a downgrade. Not gonna lie. He of course still does a great job, but just, man, you go from a giant flame demon with 3 heads to a spider guy. One of these things is not like the other. Anyway, it's our obligatory Shadowy Council episode. Alistair and Zestiel go to a meeting of the Overlords where we get our first glimpses of the demons running the show. We also meet weapons manufacturer Carmilla Carmine, played by Daphne Rubin Vega, another talented singer. She gets into a song fight with Velvet. We find out Carmine was the one that took out the angel, and then we get an odd out-of-room duet between Carmine and Vaggie about doing what you do for who you love. The eggs tell Alistair that Carmine was the one that did it, and everyone makes up, with the episode ending with Serpentius putting his little egg boys to sleep. Again, Alex Brightman brings his all to Serpentius, and honestly, I'm here for it. He made a character that could come across as super annoying into an actual kind of fleshed out character. Why kind of? Did you realize we're almost halfway through the entire season? Goes fast when there's only 8 episodes, dog. We're working with borrowed time here. Scrambled Eggs is rushed, but fine. It knew what its job was and tried to stick to it as best it could. My problem with the episode is more just with there being a really ridiculously important A story, and then the B story is everyone else just doing something completely different. It was fine the first 2 times, but now it just feels like wasted room. You get that's supposed to be the hotel bonding and growing together, but I don't know, it just kinda feels off, especially considering the next episode. Scrambled Eggs is an over-easy 7 out of 10 that, while it does move the story forward, definitely starts to show some cracks in the structure.
The only episode with a viewer advisory warning. Miss it? Miss the old voice? Here it is! But no, it's also the only episode that's 18 plus, and that is baffling to me. Mind you, every episode of Invincible is 18 plus, and I get it, it kinda has to be. They go to some very dark places. I don't know, it feels odd that the show is 16 plus. Obviously you want the younger demo, but then you come out swinging with this? Yeesh. And obviously, viewer advisory warnings are important, especially when discussing topics like this. So please, if you get upset from SA, addiction, what have you, please know these are huge elements to not only this episode, but they do have undercurrents throughout the rest of the show. Didn't really want to do a poppy radio voice for that note. Mind you, and this is true, of all the episodes, this one is probably the best of the entire season. Like I say all this, and the episode itself is not bad at all, just, be aware. Now back to the
Radio! Husk and Angel Dust start arguing after Angel Dust shows off a new film he's in, with nudie bits. Angel ends up storming off to work, and Charlie decides to try and use her weight as the Princess of Hell to get him off the hook. She goes to Valentino's studio, and yeah, things escalate very, very quickly. Valentino beats and threatens Angel Dust into shunning Charlie, and I'm not going to show any of it, but really runs them through the ringer. Poison is an excellent song, sang brilliantly again by Blake Roman. The imagery is intense and there's a lot of elements at work. Again, the story is basic so that you can focus on the characters, and that's fine. Angel Dust begins to spiral and drinks at a dive bar, hoping and pleading that someone would break him so bad that Valentino wouldn't even want him anymore. That's a little heavy for a show kinda sorta marketed to a younger demo. Again, I get it, but it is heavy stuff. Husk goes to get him out of his spiral, and we get Keith David giving us one of the best and my personal favorite song of the entire series, Loser Baby. They commiserate about their pain and shared suffering, and after Angel Dust goes to make up with Charlie, the two go for a drink as the episode fades away. It's a tricky episode to talk about. On the one hand, of all the episodes of the entire show, this is the one I'd probably recommend people watch to understand what the show is at its core. Now that being said, the episode order just kinda seems a little off. You know how many times we see Serpentius this episode? 0. 0 times. He's nowhere. Personally, if what you're trying to show is the growth of the members of the hotel, this feels like an episode that should be the second rather than Video Killed the Radio Star. Just sort of move the rest down one. It shows Angel growing because of him being at the hotel. We get some backstory on Husk, and it fleshes out Charlie and Angel's relationship. While, yes, there is that sorta pseudo-feud between Serpentius and Angel Dust who gets jealous of his progress, it's something that you can put in after this episode and it would still have an impact. This one just feels off. I get the subject matter is why you probably move it down, but if you have Scrambled Eggs lead directly into Dad Beat Dad, it just kinda flows better, you know? Masquerade is where things will start to fall apart. This is the border before the land untraveled. These first 4 episodes, all things considered, were incredibly solid. But how does a series with such lofty consequences wrap a season in 4 more episodes? Well, there's only one way to find out. Masquerade is a heart-wrenching 10 out of 10 that showcases the animation, writing, acting, vocal talent, and creative energy with unrivaled zeal. The show exists so that Masquerade could be made, and it is a painful, but truly, from the bottom of my heart, genuinely beautiful display. Charlie is all out of options, so she calls on the one person that can help her. Daddy Lucifer. Lucifer enjoys making rubber ducks and appears to be going through a wee bit of the depression, something fierce. He's a very eccentric guy played by Jeremy Jordan. He was also the one that got Charlie her meeting with Adam, but then acts like he hasn't heard from her in ages and says it's rare for her to be calling him when they just talked 4 episodes ago. Which I guess each episode is a month, but it is not communicated well. Gotta love when time between things is fluid when you have a 6-month ticking clock. I'm not saying you need to do it like 24 or anything, but show us the countdown from time to time so we know how high or low the stakes are. Is the invasion going to be at the end of the season, at the end of the series? What's going on? Well, Alistair gets all high and mighty and competitive with Lucifer, and they get into a heated, musical barrage of verses. It's like if jazz had rap battles that weren't battling saxophones. They start getting into it until, sure enough, Mimsy shows up, played by Sarah Stiles. I recognized her from Billions, but fun fact, she was also Spinel in Steven Universe. She runs to Alistair every time she needs a favor, and this time, she's run from some loan sharks and needs him to help her out. Husk tells Alistair to make her leave since she's just trouble, and we find out that sure enough, even Alistair is shackled to someone himself. Who? Ooh, you'll have to wait and find out. Maybe it's Lilith, maybe it's Eve, maybe it's a character we've never seen before. Ooh. The episode ends with Charlie showing her dad that people can change, and he agrees to get her a meeting at the top of the toppity top. Miss Morningstar is going to heaven. See, that's a play on Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, a movie that came out the same year my grandma was born. The entire episode can really be boiled down to 2 words. Dad fight. Alistair hates Lucifer. Lucifer doesn't want Charlie to be crushed like he was for trying to help humanity. It does make sense that Alistair would want to stop Lucifer from helping Charlie, because if he helps her, what's Alistair gonna do? Really kinda takes his bargaining chips away, you know? All while Charlie doesn't think Lucifer believes in her or that she can do it. And it's not that at all. Lucifer has experienced heaven's almighty wrath firsthand. He doesn't want all of her hard work to be for nothing because heaven is cruel. Because life is cruel. He wants Charlie to stop not because he doesn't believe in her, but because he doesn't believe the system will ever change. Again, the musical numbers are fantastic, and Jeremy Jordan really brings their all with Lucifer and does make an outstanding first impression. Overall, the characters are all fun and creative, and I'm glad to have them, except for Mitzi. Really can't stand her. That being said, the episode is a whole lot of nothing that gets resolved at the end when it could have been figured out with a phone call. Hey, Dad, set me up with heaven. You got it, dog. Bring bong bing, heaven's calling. Which is literally what happens, just with, the whole episode in between. Is Dad Beat Dad fun? Yes. Is it necessary? At its fundamental core, I would say kind of. It's kind of nice to see Alistair starting to get a little shook, but even that does a lot of heavy lifting this episode and really makes you wonder if Alistair's worth all the hubbub. Dad Beat Dad is a paternal 7 out of 10. Oh look, the Heaven episode. Charlie and Baggy go to heaven while the rest of the gang goes out to party. Cherry Bomb is back. Serpentious has a crush on her. It's a whole adorable thing. Serpentious is cool in my book. We stand Serpentious. He buys shots for everybody. Charlie and Baggy get to the pearly gates and meet old St. Peter, played by Darren Criss, who you'd recognize from Glee, and of course for playing Bruce Shutback in Rick and Morty, the man who lacked slacks. He does a whole song and dance called, Welcome to Heaven, and we meet two seraphims, Sarah, played by Patina Miller, and Emily, played by Shobha Narayan. One is a giant imposing force, and the other is a teeny-eeny-beady-bit girl with a big old smile on her face. Gee, I wonder who the bad one is. It's Sarah. Sarah is the one that greenlit Adam doing his whole extermination thing. The audience doesn't even get the shock of the big reveal. It's shown pretty early in the episode that she knew what was going down. Also, Adam is back and upset they went to his boss, which that's just fighting dirty at that point. Adam pulls Baggy aside and tells her to play along with what he says, otherwise he'll let it slip that she used to be an angel before Charlie found her. And will even tell her what her real name is. It's not that big of a reveal, but I'll say this, it's really, really funny. I love it. It got me in a way I was not expecting. The Seraphims watch Angel Dust and the gang to see if they have shown change. Adam gives them an arbitrary list of things someone has to do to go to heaven. And when Angel defends himself and stands up to Valentino, even hitting him as he walks triumphantly away with his friends, hey, that sure seems like a heaven-bound soul, huh? Maybe reconsider why no one is going to heaven anymore, huh? Okay, but why aren't there written rules that they can just hide behind? Yeah, sure, I forgot God hated writing things down. Definitely didn't tell anyone any rules to scribble down or anything. It's kind of ironic that this and The Good Place have relatively the same plot as things go on, except The Good Place actually explains why no one's going to heaven. Here it just doesn't make a ton of sense. Anyway, whoa, what? Sarah's the bad guy. That is shocking. Oh! But the case is over and nothing happened. Okay, thanks, bye. Nothing changes. Whiplash. My neck is killing me. Get it? My neck is at a right degree. We have fun here. The Angel Dust stuff, all good. I had no notes other than give Nifty something more to do. The whole court case thing, the most laughably predictable thing I've ever seen. Emily is the plucky young innocent seraphim, and Sarah seems like the sweet all voice. Of course they're not going to make Sarah be the one to defend hell. It has to be Emily. This is just friendship is magic for angsty drama kids. Not a bad thing, just, a thing. Charlie and Baggy make up because of course they do. They don't have time to stew on it. And Adam tells them he's coming to their house first like some sort of Krampus-esque murder man. I think that's why I have such a problem with Sarah. I know she's supposed to be like the tippity-tippity top of the court, I guess. Like, she can't be one of the head honchos of heaven. That'd be kinda embarrassing to be outed that fast. But Sarah just doesn't have the panache of Adam. Alex Brightman just gives us this over-the-top, easily hateable guy. He is all the problems with heaven personified. He should obviously not be there, and that's just fantastic. Having him and Lute as the big bads works. Sarah just kind of stands back and shrugs and goes, thought it was a good idea. And I find her design so uninspired. I'm so bored by the Seraphim's designs. Are we going to get archangels? Maybe the horsemen of the apocalypse? I really need these two to not be the highest point that we'll ever see in conflict. Highest point for now? Absolutely. But let's get God's inner circle in on this, huh, gang? 2 more episodes to go. We've got a Zoom. Welcome to Heaven is a heaven sent 7 out of 10. With Doomsday right around the corner yet again, Charlie makes a non-soul-binding deal with Alistair to help her stop Adam's attack. Oh look, he's doing something! He agrees to help her get her army in exchange for her helping out with a little favor that he gets to choose later, so long as it doesn't hurt anyone. Convenient. Charlie goes to meet with Rosie, the leader of the cannibals, while Vaggie goes to see Carmine about how she was able to take out an angel. Okay. Enjoyed the part where Charlie had to unite all the cannibals and losing her top at the old lady one. That was great. Thought that was fun. Good thing for Charlie to have to do. Great to see Alistair has friends and allies. Hey, that's cool too. And then we have this. Vaggie fights with Carmine, who is teaching her through fighting how to fight angels because Vaggie herself is an angel. She tells her that she must fight like she has something to fight for. Not to fight for vengeance, but rather fight for love. That is some mental math right there. Okay. The angels' weakness is they don't fear death and angel weaponry. Where in that is fighting for love a good idea? Just get angel weapons. You know that's the thing. You don't fight Superman with love, you fight him with a glowing green rock. I know. Fighting for love gives you something to come home to. So you're really fighting for tomorrow by fighting today. Yeah, I don't care. On one hand, you have Charlie weaponizing cannibals. On the other, Vaggie learning to fight with love. One of these is not like the other. One of these just doesn't belong. I honestly think it's just Carmilla Carmine for me. I just can't take her seriously. I know she's supposed to be like Scissors or whatever, but she just doesn't do anything for me. It feels like she's just a Hollow Knight character that escaped the game. I mean, Daphne Rubin Vega has gone all in her songs. She is belting her absolute heart out. It's just disappointing that the songs are just boring. Velvet was great, thought that part of their whole battle duet was fun. Bored out of my mind whenever Carmilla comes on screen. It's like she came in from her own show and now she wants the limelight. I don't know. Rosie's fun. I enjoy Rosie's character. I think she's a great ally for Charlie to have. There's a lot going on there. Charlie and Vaggie tell the gang they can run if they want, and what does everyone do? They get ready for war. The show has had its flaws up till now, but you know the characters, and you would believe the characters would unilaterally do this for Charlie. Except for Nifty. Nifty's just in it for the stabbing. Seriously, one song. Any song for Nifty. Hello Rosie is a penultimate, love-powered 7 out of 10. And here we are, the season finale. Vox is live streaming the Hazbin Hotel training arc. Serpentius is getting all the soldiers in line to lead them to victory. Nifty gets a knife. Oh, and Cherry Bomb has come by to help. Cherry Bomb is played by Christina Alabato, who was also in Pantheon, which was great. Didn't bring it up till now, but yeah, smoke 'em if you've got 'em. It's the night before the big battle. Also, kinda shows Alistair and Nifty getting comfy at the hotel, and I just have to hope that means there's something deeper to Nifty. Serpentius keeps failing at flirting with Cherry Bomb, but the mate just keeps trying. Charlie and Vaggie have a little slow song, and Adam is cranking up the invasion to a Spinal Tap 11. I cannot emphasize enough. Any other villain in this entire show would probably fall apart. I will never be able to overstate how Alex Brightman just brings it. And with all the pieces on the board, this is where the script simply says, they fight. Adam finds out the angels are weak to angelic weapons, which, like, why wouldn't they know that? Like, why would you not know your own weakness? You're angels. Doesn't matter. Well, Adam and Alistair start going at it. You know what? I'll say this. This finale has made me eat my words about Bento Box being a weird choice for the show. It's very obvious they had to hold back on the budget because they put it all into the songs, and more importantly, this finale. Alistair gets cut down by Adam and slinks away into the shadows, which, if you like Alistair, you think he's being a sneaky, schemy little guy. And if you hate him, you think he just wussed out and dipped. And honestly, I don't think either is truly wrong. Adam starts dropping the serious divine punishment, and Serpentius confesses to Cherry Bomb before taking his dirigible for a one-way trip to annihilation courtesy of the First Man. Charlie has her dragons, Razzle and Dazzle, battle-catted up, and Vaggie squares off with Loot while Charlie tries to go toe-to-toe with Adam. Vaggie sprouts wings and spares Loot, who readily loses an arm to fly away and keep the fight going. Then Lucifer shows up, and they fight and fight and fight some more. It's the fight episode. Adam understandably hates Lucifer for effectively making him live the life of the cuckoo bird on a cosmic level. Adam is defeated but not out until Nifty runs up and just starts stabbing him in the back with a knife dozens of times. Extermination Day for the first time is cancelled and the tide is changing. We also get a recap by Katie Killjoy, lovingly brought to life by everyone's favorite calamity given human form, Brandon Rogers. The hotel is in ruins, Serpentius is gone, this is the all is lost moment, and when Charlie is at her lowest, who's there to pick her up? The residents. And, to an equally important level, her dad. They're determined to build back better, and sure enough they make the hotel bigger and better, and Nifty gets 4 lines in the song. 4. I hate this timeline. The V's vow to take over in the power vacuum of Alistair being gone. Alistair is very obviously panicking about his deal and finding a way out of it, which I gotta say, makes him actually interesting for once, instead of just being this creepypasta given form. And wouldn't you know it, old Serpentius actually makes it to heaven, and Loot tells Lilith that Adam is dead, and now she needs to stop her daughter. Credits roll. Dun dun dun. Why was Lilith in heaven? What was the deal? Who owns Alistair? So many questions that you'll have to tune in and find out. The show must go on is a conclusion I feel the show earned, but honestly, I wish it was at least double length. Make it a 2-parter. Make it just a little bit heftier. It felt like they were speed running in parts. But the finale does all the right things to make sure the series has a jumping off point for a second season, which it was recently announced it did get. It sets up new ideas, shows character growth, builds on the lore, and ends on an ultimately positive note. The show must go on is a show-stopping 9 out of 10. And there we have it, sports fans. That's season 1. Anything you think I was right on, wrong on? What was your favorite song? Least favorite? Let me know in the comments below. For me, favorite would definitely be Loser Baby, and least favorite is absolutely whatever it takes. Ultimately, Hazbin Hotel is a 4-hour little adventure that delivers on everything it promised at the start. Again, it's definitely a series you watch in one burst like an Oppenheimer-scale movie. While it felt rushed, I feel like if they just had a 10-episode order over an 8-episode one and actually had some time to slow down in the middle and focus on the characters more, I think it would have been just that much better. They obviously know what they want to do with the characters and have a solid developmental roadmap. Granted, it does look like it might be up to 2 years before the new season comes out, so people are gonna be waiting a bit, but it is very easy to see why it has been such a great phenomenon. And with Helva Boss and a whole myriad of new YouTube animations in development, there's plenty of content to tide people over. Hazbin Hotel has excellent musical numbers, interesting characters, outstanding voice work, and an aesthetic that feels all its own. I truly hope from the bottom of my heart it goes down in history as a series that encouraged studios to look at even more independent creators. With the success of this, and Smiling Friends, and Koala Man, it's hard to see this new age wave of adultish animation slowing down anytime soon. I am not the target demographic for Hazbin Hotel. It is not a series made for me, and yet I did find myself thoroughly enjoying what I sat through. I had a lot of the songs on a loop while editing this very video. It knows how to catch your attention and hold on to it. I truly hope Hazbin Hotel is allowed to run its course with little studio interference and gets to tell the story that Vivian Medrano has worked on for so long. Hazbin Hotel is a series for those that need something to obsess over and dive into with a fine-tooth comb. And while those days are behind me of watching Summerween with my college buds, I can still respect that clue-finding hustle. Like I said, it's friendship is magic, but for the angsty drama kids. This is what would happen if you take those elements and create it for a slightly more mature, more edgy audience and still want those same messages. It's very easy to insert a OC character like my own into this world. It will always be important for creative endeavors like this show to exist, and I'm so glad this one was realized. I'll take the Hazbin fandom over Steven Universe fandom any day. Fight it out in my comments. Give me comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, make sure to check out our Patreon, Discord, and sometimes Twitch. I promise I'm going to stream more, maybe even here on YouTube. Who knows, might even do a 5K Q&A. And if you want to see more content like this, with or without the radio voice, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and tell your friends we're out here. Did you like this? Did you hate this? Is this new and good for you? Anyway, I hope you get through what you're fighting through. I believe in you, and I know things will get better. Stay strong, keep going, always forward, never back. You've got this. Goodbye, everyone, and I'll see you next time.